Look, we've all dealt with inaccurate sales forecasts. Big promises, missed targets, frustrated teams. I've been there too. You get confident predictions from your reps, the quarter ends, and then you're left explaining missed numbers to management or even worse, investors. Stressful, right? Doesn't have to be this way though. I mean, there's a pretty easy fix. I call it probabilistic forecasting. Seems obvious, and it takes out the guesswork. So here's how it works. There's 3 adjustments you make to every deal that your reps are forecasting. So the first adjustment is the likelihood that the deal is going to close ever. So let's imagine a $100,000 deal, and you know that there's some risk involved because it's a competitive transaction, right? You might be in a knife fight with 2 or 3 other vendors. So let's adjust that down 50%. So now, as you roll up the 50 deals that your team may be managing, this contribution after the first adjustment is $50,000. Next, perhaps you know that there isn't much of an incentive or there's still a lot to be done to get this deal done this quarter. So you'll adjust perhaps another 50% downwards for this transaction, bringing the contribution to about $25,000 for your overall forecast for your roll-up. And then lastly, and maybe the most important part, is the finesse around whether or not your rep is a sandbagger or overly optimistic or somewhere in between. That's where the management adjustment can be valuable. So let's imagine this rep is overly optimistic or they're struggling. Maybe they're in a slump. Perhaps you know that they have a history of thinking something's going to close but not being able to get it across the finish line. So let's adjust it down another 50%. So now you've got this $100,000 deal in your Salesforce or your HubSpot. You've adjusted it $50,000 down 50% to $50,000, another 50% down to $25,000, and a last 50% for the rep adjustment or the management adjustment down to $12,500. Now, imagine being able to run this exercise across all 50 deals and have clear visibility into how each of the activities that your reps or each of the plays that you might be running can impact the likelihood of ever closing. Maybe go see a customer in person. That'll boost the likelihood that it'll ever close, most likely. Perhaps offer an incentive to close this quarter or value add. That's something that can increase the likelihood that your deal closes this quarter. So you can very easily take activities and see what the value of that activity is on your roll-up by accounting for how it impacts the likely to close ever, the likely to close this quarter, and the honesty or the ability to manage their own optimism in terms of reps being able to optimize their pipeline. So I've got a spreadsheet I could share with you. It's something that I've used for years and years. I'm generally in the 2 to 5% margin of error in my forecasts over the tens of millions of dollars I've been running over the past decade or so. So if you can relate, if you're struggling with forecasts and getting it accurate, you can create this shadow pipeline for yourself in a spreadsheet. Just drop forecast in the comments. I'm trying something a little different here. And I'll send you the simple framework. I'll show you how to use it with a Loom, and you'll get the Excel doc to make all this happen. All right, gang, hopefully this is helpful for you. Good luck with the last 2 or so weeks of the quarter, and you know where to find me.